My therapist said, you should write things like Susan Orlean, which is like, I wanted to say to her, you should be a therapist like Sigmund Freud, you know. My books are organized like a person who moves and plans to organize them and never does, because actually...
I'm sorry, could we start over?
Why? Rough. 3 apartments ago, we had them organized by subject, and it was great. This one, baseball books, is one section that I got to do, and film books, but I then gave them all to my nephew, so they're gone. So now I have nothing organized. Though, if I'm like on the phone with somebody, I do try to get every book by an author and put them together. It's very disorganized. Thus, every time I look for a book now, I say, I cannot believe this. Somebody stole my copy of Assassination Vacation. And you know, obviously there's nobody sneaking into my apartment stealing one Sarah Vowell book, but it's missing. You Had Me at Woof is a book of the lessons that I learned through having dogs and fostering dogs. It started with the realization that I probably would not have, you know, met my husband and gotten married if I hadn't had Otto, my first dog, because before that I dated people, but I always felt like it was so hard to be with anybody. And then when I had Otto, you know, my therapist said I fell in love with him, which always kind of creeped me out, but I guess I kind of did. And I never felt resentful of his needs. I was happy to order food that agreed with him and, you know, watch TV shows that he liked and not go out if it was too much, leaving him alone. It's sort of opened the door for me, I think, to be in a human relationship. This book, David Rakoff, Fraud. This is a book that I've read so many times. This is probably the 3rd copy maybe more, 4th copy I've bought. I've lent it to people who've been going through terrible tragedies in their life and can't read anything or do anything, and everybody says I was rolling on the floor laughing. I'm not even going to open it now because of the danger of me guffawing at a second's notice. I rarely read books over again. There's like 2 or 3 books that I'll read again and again. The Mouse 1 and 2. There are images that he conveyed with cartoons of mice that are as chilling and have stayed with me as much as any pictures of anything from the Holocaust. I judge a book by how much parts of it stay with me. And the part in that book where his father's friend loses his boots and belt, and I still like feel, you know, verklempt when I think about. I think there's just nothing like it. It's amazing. My other obsession is baseball books. This is The Glory of Their Times by Lawrence Ritter. He went around the country in, it was the 70s, and interviewed all of the baseball players from the turn of the century in 10s and 20s, the ones who barnstormed, and wrote, you know, tiny little profiles of each of them. And it's one of those things that I kept thinking, I wish I had been along with him. I don't wish I had done it because I hate to travel. I bought this in Caldors in like 1979. Look how battered it is. And it's all of these before and after pictures. I was a very insecure teenager, and I had that book, Cheryl Teague's book, Christy Brinkley, all the great authors. I had a really great high school, and we read Eugene O'Neill and Steinbeck, but that wasn't where I was on the weekends. I was just going to say, like, I really don't want my face next to this, but did you get it okay?